All right, happy day, everybody. Hope everyone's doing wonderful as we get close to the end of the year. Let's have a good time with our topic here, which is the plague. Don't be creeped out. It's gonna bother some of you guys. Enjoy it. Have a good time. We've conquered this today. It's still around, but if you get it, you'll be all right. And most likely, none of you are going to get it. So let's get straight into this. The plague. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Jesus Domine, dona eis requiem. All right, so here we are, the Black Death. Another name for it, yes, there's the years, 1347, 1351. You're going to see how fast and crazy this thing's going to happen. All right, the plague. The culprit is bacteria. So you see bacteria right here. All right, that's what the plague is. It's a bacteria like I had the past 2 days. I had bacteria in me. Yes, and here is the flea. All right, so the bacteria would grow inside of the flea's belly. You see it inside there? And what you're looking at here, this is the actual size of a flea back in the Middle Ages. Oh, right, and then the flea, all right, its host, or where the flea would be able to travel very easily, was on the back of the rat. So you have 8, 9, 10 fleas running around on the rat. And this is how, it was transported from Asia all the way into Europe. All right, so let's back up. Let's give us a little bit of history of right before the plague attacks Europe. So here's a famine's going to happen. I mean, there's a lack of food in 1315 to 1317. All right, so what you have here is by the 1300s, Europeans were farming almost all the land they could cultivate. So the Europeans had cut down basically all the trees, and they were farming almost all of the land. Okay, now, all of a sudden, they got all this food, and there's a population crisis. It means people having a lot of babies, a lot of farmers are out there on the land doing their thing, and making this world a little bit more fertile. All right, so climate changes begin to happen in Europe. There's literally a mini ice age that's coming down into northern Europe, causing the land to where, it just can't deal with all this water or this excessive rain coming down during this climate change, and the food's not growing like it should. All right, so because of this famine, it's going to be about 15% of the peasants in some English villages, they're going to die. Now, those that live, all right, their immune system is going to be weak because they don't have enough food to eat. So about 15% of all the people die, all right, but the ones that survive, their immune system is weak. Get ready, here comes the plague. Now, one consequence of starvation and poverty is susceptibility to disease. And that's what's going to go on in Europe. All right, so here we go. The year 1347. The plague is coming in here through the Mongols. All right, it's in Constantinople. Right here, here's Italy, and it's moving up into these areas. We'll talk more about that in a minute. All right, so here, this is what it may look like to you. A big old giant bubble on your neck. Look at that big old bubble. It might be on your chest or your back or your face or anywhere. We call it a bulbous. All right. This form right here is called septicemia. If you got this, you are going to die. It's 100% mortality rate. You are gone. That's right. Check this out. This was such a big deal. This Bible called the Toggenburg Bible in 1411, had a picture of the plague. Look at the bulbuses on all these people. And you have the priest back there trying to figure out, please, God, help me figure out how to stop the plague. Now, one of the things they did to stop the plague, they would lance the bubble or the bubble, the bulbe here. Look at him. He's cutting it open. That means he would bleed these blisters or whatever you want to call them on these people. All right? Now, here is the disease cycle. This is how it worked. First, the flea would drink rat blood that carries the bacteria. The bacteria would multiply in the flea's gut. All right? The flea's gut was clogged with the bacteria, and it's looking out for somebody. The flea would bite me or you or any human and regurgitate or vomit the blood into the human womb. Ta-da! You are infected. Don't be grossed out. That's just what happened. Hit pause if you need to get this done. Woohoo! All right, so art during this time is going to take a spin where everything was going to be all about. Check out this drawing. It's going to be all about death and the plague. Art does this. All right, check out this little saying. The victims ate lunch with their friends and dinner with their ancestors. What would that mean? That means that the plague could kill you quickly. You don't even know you have it at the middle of the day. But by the end of the day, you'll be hanging out with those that died before you. Here's some more of that art. Look at some of that. Creepy art. Now, this is pretty interesting. Check this out. First line you need to look at is over here, okay, near the Black Sea, 1347. All right, so where it starts. All right, and then it'll spread down here, 1348, get all up into the Papal States, 1349, 1350, 1351. This is how quickly it spreads. Just those few years gets all of Europe. 90%, 100% of Europe is going to be impacted by this. All right, here's some attempts to stop the plague. Check this out. You'd have the doctor's robe. They would dress up inside of here. This was supposed they get a bunch of herbs and shove up inside that mask, and it would protect the doctor. All right, another attempt. This is the leeching or the bleeding of people. They would bleed people thinking that would get rid of the plague. There's another thing. This is called flagellante. Those monks that were out there that wanted to save everybody, well, they would punish themselves for other people's sins trying to stop the plague. They thought God was going to stop the plague for them. They also attacked the Jews. Yes, the Jews in this area. They had to find somebody to blame, just like Hitler did, and they're going to blame the Jews. They have special hats they had to wear, little circles. They're actually going to massacre Jews in certain areas. That's right. Check out the art again. All right, check out the theme became death triumvirate. You see death is triumvirate as it's going, with these horse-looking things. All right, anyways, here he goes, guys. About to bring this to an end. Check this little poem out. A sickly season, the merchant said. The town I left was filled with dead, and everywhere these red flies crawled upon the corpses' eyes, eating them away. It will make you sick, the merchant said. They crawled upon the wine and bread. Pale priests with oil and books, bulging eyes and crazy looks, dropping like the flies. I had to laugh, the merchant said. The doctors, they purged and doused and bled and proved through solemn disputation the cause lay in some consolation up there. Then they began to die. First they'd sneeze, achoo, the merchant said, and then they turned the brightest red. They would beg for water, and then they'd fall back. With bulging eyes and face turned black, they waited for the flies. I came away, the merchant said. You can't do business with the dirt. So I've come here to you to ply my trade. You'll find this to be a fine brocade. Choo! And then he sneezed, spreading the disease. The mortality rate, 35% to 70% of the people in the cities in Europe, they died. 50 million people were killed by the plague. All right. There's some questions. A question for you guys. If you would, take that, answer it, put it on your Weebly. I'm out of here. Good job. Very good.